Hey, in this 12th take of this video, I want to uncover 12 myths, a dozen myths of Agile, customer centricity and design thinking. Let's see if it works out this time. But I thought we take 12 because everybody can take 10, so 12 is the number. So let's dive into the first one, which is it always starts with the customer. That is a myth and it's not the truth, because your process could start, for example, with a global trend that you discover, or it could be a patent that you have, or an idea, or even a challenge that you face internally in your organization. You solve that challenge and you figure that is a service that is great for other people, so you find a customer for that. So it's not starting with the customer always, but it always ends with the customer. That is pretty crucial for your process of solving challenges and being mindful of customer centricity, what that really means. And then the second one, the second myth is that the customer knows the truth. That would be so cool. But when we talk about customer centricity, we need to understand that the customer perhaps know what they want, but not what they need. So for example, if you asked me, I would answer right away, I need an ice cream, right? Definitely. But that is actually not what I need. I want an ice cream and I need a better balance in my diet, because then I would starve for sugar. The same goes for Henry Ford. You remember what he said. If he had asked his customers what they need, they would have answered, of course we need faster horses. But that's what they wanted, because they couldn't imagine that there would be cars in the future. What they really needed is getting faster from A to B. The third myth is that metrics never lie. We rely on big data and small data and real-time data, and it's all great because we can learn so much, right? It's not true that they never lie. With data and metrics, you need to ask really the right questions up front. You need to be really aware of what they don't show you, because sometimes they may show you something and it's not the whole truth. Just giving you an example of an email provider. When you send out a newsletter to customers, the email provider says you have a conversion rate of X, like let's say 45% open rate. That sounds great, but it's actually not the truth, because a lot of email providers block that information. So you don't even see some of the people who are opening the email. And some others, just by marking them as read, might charge as have opened it. So the truth lies somewhere in the middle, and what you're thriving for in the approach that I want to teach you is that you always go out and gather real evidence, talking to people, getting quantitative and qualitative tests and experiments and information to then make informed decisions. So that was the third. And then the fourth is that Agile is faster, right? We always think or identify Agile as a fast process. I would say that's not true. It's a myth. And what is really true is that Agile is about learning faster. If we understand the challenge at hand and we take a quick jump into creating something small, a prototype or a test or a concept, and we share that with our customers or stakeholders, and we learn from that. That is what Agile means. We have to learn faster and not just be faster. That's not what Agile is. The fourth myth is that design thinking requires an innovation lab. That is not true. Design thinking is a mindset. It's the way you approach things. You can emphasize and define and ideate and prototype and test everywhere, on a piece of paper, with your team, on a flip chart, or I don't know, on a window, or in an innovation lab, of course, right? You can do it everywhere at any given time. You should take it as that. It's a mindset that you can apply to all the things that you do at any given time. It's not fixed to an infrastructure. And connected to that, there is the fifth myth, which is it all has to be perfect. That is not true. Perfection is actually our enemy. My personal enemy anyways, because I'm a perfectionist and I need to live that by example. I try to do that here in the video as well, because when I say something wrong, I just decided we take that take anyway. So that's how I overcome perfectionism, and I invite you to do that, right? Building stuff that is good enough for people to engage with. And good enough doesn't mean that the quality is lower. I hope you like this video still, even if I say something wrong. But it is sometimes about the quantity. Take Apple, for example. They have a very high quality production, but they say it's good enough if we have 3 different models of X, 3 different models of Y, 3 different models of Z, right? And they don't take care of everything that they could do, but they reduce the palette to make that as perfect as they can. And that's why it's not about perfection, it's about good enough. The next myth is that creativity is fun and games. A lot of people mistake that. I mean, I'm a trained designer, went to the university. It's kind of a hard work to learn creativity, and it's a profession. And for you as well, right? You need to be very disciplined to be creative. You need to have the right processes, the right people in place as well. And when you have run a good creativity session, most people are happy, but exhausted as well. So take it really as a profession and see it as a tool to solve complex challenges and not just playing around, because that's not what we need, right? We really want to solve those challenges, and creativity can help us with that, right? And then people think often, connected to creativity, for the next myth is you need to have the right system. It's about the right system. We need to use Scrum from the books. We need to use SAFe. We need to use business model innovation. We need to lean startup, whatever it is. The very specific, the right system. I would say it needs to be the right system for you, right? Perhaps for other people, this system works, but not for you. Be adaptive, be open-minded. Take it with a grain of salt sometimes when somebody says you need to use this system. I'm quite against that, and I think it's important that you embrace that too. There are a lot of systems out there, and there might be one for you, but it's not the system that will solve everything for anything that you do for you. The next myth is one of my favorites, which is you can solve everything with a sprint. That is not true. In a lot of companies I see that when Agile is flourishing and Scrum is implemented, people think they have to sprint all the time, running faster and faster and getting exhausted quite quickly because you have all those sprints all the time. Agile is about running a marathon, learning faster at a sustainable pace. That's what the Agile Manifesto says as well. Having a sustainable pace is crucial because that's how you can leverage your knowledge and can create value over the long term. So please don't run all the time. Sometimes take some time to digest and take your time to think about something deeply before you continue. It's not always about sprinting all the time. And then connected to that, the next myth is that people think Agile equals Scrum, which is not true either. Because Agile is more like a philosophy or an incremental and iterative approach to tackle a project. And then Scrum, compared to that, is a methodology that you use to manage such a project. So Agile is more the overarching concept of we need to make small steps incrementally, and Scrum gives you the specific tools and rituals and all that kind of stuff to deal in that environment as well with that approach. So they are really different because there are many, many more methodologies like Scrum for dealing with the Agile world. The next myth is controversial, so keep your seat and be prepared. The myth is a modern leader needs to be a coach. That is not true. Of course, it is great if you have all the coaching capacities and capabilities and you know how to ask the right question and you are a coach to your people, to your colleagues as well, to your employees or whoever you work with. That's great. But often enough, that's not the only thing you should do as a leader. People sometimes need decisions from you, or you being the expert, or perhaps you should lead by example, by doing something for or with them. So what I'm saying is it's about the right balance to find between coaching and acting and leading by example, not just being a coach. Please embrace that, and everything kind of falls into place in this Agile world as well. The last myth is a crime that I committed to my customers a lot of times, and I'm very sorry for that. And it sounds like this. You need to be comfortable with feeling uncomfortable. I think that is actually crazy to say. And it's way better to say you need to trust in the process. Because in this agile world, there is a lot of uncertainty, as we know by now. And with the process of small incremental steps, quick learnings, quick wins, small mistakes, you can actually trust that you don't fail on a large scale because you're just testing your way through step by step. And that's why I would say you just have to trust your process. We uncovered 12 myths of agile, design thinking, and customer centricity now to create a shared understanding and language around all these buzzwords and to make our life easier, because I think it's important that you don't take it too earnest when it comes to all these words, but just think about them how you see it and attach it to your process and adapt it to your systems to make your work better in this agile environment.